Hello and welcome to a special Galentine's themed female-in podcast, offshoot of the male-in podcast. I'm your host, Sally DeFries. I have here with me Alyssa Ruff.
Hi, Sal. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me back. It's been a minute since I've been on the mic.
You're a very requested guest, so we are lucky to have you.
Wow.
Lily will be joining us momentarily, but we're gonna get kicked off without her. She's got mom duties a calling. She'll be joining shortly. So how are you doing? How's everything going?
I'm great. I'm glad it's the weekend.
I know. You know what I did today that was really we're gonna get a lot of mom questions, some relationship questions, but I really had a mom fail today. Fritz has school on Wednesday, Friday. I ordered him Valentine's, etc. Was like, I'll give them on Wednesday. They had their Valentine's Day party today because it was before Valentine's Day instead of on the 15th on Wednesday. So literally, I was like, send him to school. Don't even think about it. And Will was like, should we have brought the Valentines? I'm like, no, but it'll be fine. No, he had a full box of Valentines from the other kids.
Did you get the ones that are personalized with his little face on it?
No, I was thinking about doing that. And then I dropped the ball and I ordered finger puppet ones from Amazon.
Oh, that's so
They're
cute.
kind of dumb.
We'll just send him next week.
It'll
be a nice little treat for him next week.
I mean, the good thing is he's literally not even 2, so he has no inkling of a clue that was going on.
No, he's mad.
But the other moms are like, this Sally girl sucks. I like him never even there for the pickup or drop off either, because I'm here on Wednesday mornings, so I never drop him off. And then Wednesday afternoons, I pick him up early, so I never see the other moms. And then on Friday, Will drops him off again, and our nanny picks him up. So
just a really absent mother.
Yeah,
that's what they're saying.
I mean, you were a teacher. I'm the one who was the working mom and not part of the PTA.
No,
so.
That's you're good.
I'm already seeing my future. I'm I'm the working mom.
You're the one that brings the store-bought cookies.
Yeah, I just versus the frosted cookies. It'll be fine. We'll figure it out in the next couple of years of how I can get a little bit more involved in the PTA. But welcome to the mail-in. Yeah. A little bit about the pod. We answer your questions. This week are specific questions that people wrote in. Mostly a lot about motherhood, like I said. Have some other fun ones. Get in a laugh. Maybe walk away with something useful. But how can you help us out before we get started? Tell a friend about the podcast. Send a clip. Shouts to our clip guy, Adam. I hope I look good in the camera. You look great. Subscribe on iTunes and follow on Spotify. Most importantly, hit the hotline, 888-362-MAIL. That's 888-362-6245. Or you can write in at the link in our Twitter bio, @MailinPodcast. Or you can always DM me a question. I always have my DMs open. Hit up our store. Hit up our YouTube at youtube.com/mailinpodcast. That's how you can see our beautiful faces. You ready to get started with the first question before Lily hops on?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. For Sally and Alyssa, what are bits that your husbands do from the show that get old? What's your favorite bit? And what is your favorite attribute about your husband?
So I will say that, Dave doesn't just walk around doing bits around the house all the time.
Yeah.
Much to everyone's shock and surprise.
Yeah.
We were watching I found that I saw a lot of I think you should leave sketches on my screens multiple times a day. I feel like multiple times a week. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I think you should leave. Feels like I've seen multiple sketches of that multiple times. And I don't know how familiar you are.
We watched the show a lot,
with them.
Yeah.
They're funny.
But he pulls those bits a lot.
A lot. No, not David's pulling them a lot. He's playing them a lot.
Yeah.
He's I think we should throw on one of these and we've seen that 10 times.
We've seen all of these.
We've gone through that a lot. But I will say he doesn't do tons of bits around the house or anything, of that nature. Does Will?
So I think what's funny is we get this question basically every time we host.
We do.
Obviously, a lot of the audience from Mail-In comes from Circling Back, which our husbands host. And so I think people assume that this is what I mean, I think their friendship, their banter with each other is like that every day, but we also like, we were out to dinner last week. I don't think I heard Will or Dave, like, make a any sort of, like, something that would be said on the podcast. I have to be honest, I don't listen to the podcast.
I'm really glad you said that because whenever we did get this question, I was like, wait a minute. Like, it's been probably ever since I had Rhodes, I feel like it's probably been, I mean, I just haven't listened in years,
Yeah.
I don't think. So I wasn't even all that up to date on it. So I
Mhm.
asked, I was like, look, I am like David, like what's going on right now? Because I
Yeah, what
really
are you
don't
even
even
talking about?
know. And he was like, what? Like
The
you
only
don't know,
time I
like
know
it's
what they're talking about is because they post something about it on
right,
Instagram.
exactly.
But
Same. But that being said, um, something that I still find funny and that still makes me cackle because it's so dumb is that Dave will occasionally, this came to me, like throw into conversation, oh, well, that's the only way that she can eat her fajitas.
he does love that
And
one.
he
I
loves
like that
that
one
one.
too.
And it was such a ridiculous like
My least favorite
moment.
bit, and I didn't even know that this was the thing until Will explained it to me, but apparently there's a whole thing on the show about how I interrupt with questions while we watch TV. Randy's like laughing because he knows this is true. I didn't even know that was like being said about me constantly. And it like makes me so mad because if I interrupt Will, it's because I'm literally being like, do you even understand what's going on? Like, I I do talk while we watch TV and, like, ask questions that are rhetorical, but half the time it's because Will's always asleep while we're watching something. I'm just, like, really throwing something out there to see
He
if he's
is
gonna
known to fall
respond to me.
asleep during shows.
Yeah, so I didn't know that that was a bit about me. It's not very nice, and I don't like it. Their favorite bit for me, and I have my Fritz's birthday
I
cup is obviously the Wilmots. We based Fritz's
classic.
whole first birthday off of it.
Absolutely
No
classic.
one besides you and Will or you and Dave even understood what the party was about. But it was fun. I mean, we had a great time with our pina colada machine. Um, yeah.
And was
What
there a last part to that? Your
yeah,
favorite
what's your favorite quality about Dave?
I mean, his sense of humor, for
Mhm.
sure.
Mhm.
Um, he is the funniest person I know. But over the last 2 years, I mean, my favorite thing about him is he is a really hands-on dad. He's a really great dad, and it's really fun to watch, and Rhodes adores him. So, I mean, not to be cheesy, but it's wonderful
Yeah.
seeing him be, such a good
That's a really
dad.
attractive quality, I think. Watching
Yeah.
Will be a dad has made me very much, like, appreciate him, appreciate who he is with Fritz, like, he takes on basically the whole brunt of the mornings for us. I mean, I think Dave's probably the same way.
Yeah, there's a couple I work from home, a couple days a week, but I have to go to the office, a couple of days a week too, and I have to get there pretty early, so I'm leaving before anyone gets up.
Yeah.
So he takes care of everything. He takes him to the nanny, he gets him, up and dressed and fed and takes care of snacks and gets him to where he needs to go, and that's, I mean, it's a huge blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my favorite quality about Will, I mean, obviously that I love that he's a good dad, but I think right now is that he's got a lot of drive. Like watching him grow Sunday Scaries and
Yeah.
be creative and everything that they're doing with Washed has like made me I really have always been attracted to like people who are driven and like are go-getters. So like the past couple years, like really the last year, like when he's kicked into overdrive, I'm like, hell yeah. And when he wears the backwards hat. Um, all right, let's take a minute to talk about our sponsor, Liquid IV. Alyssa, I know you are familiar with Liquid IV.
I love Liquid IV, and they are so awesome. I mean, we're so lucky that we get to partake in this because it keeps
It's
me
changed.
hydrated.
It totally
Sorry, I don't
changes.
drink enough water. I just don't.
Yeah.
And that'll make you feel terrible, but when I throw in a Liquid IV, I mean,
And you know this from experience being a breastfeeding mom.
yes.
Hydration is so important. And especially for your health when you're like growing another human, feeding another human, being just in charge of another human's life, like you cannot be your best self unless you're hydrated. And Liquid IV has the hydration multiplier. It's one product for your daily routine. It's just And one stick got your 5 essential vitamins. It's 2 times faster hydration than water alone. If you use it first thing in the morning before a workout, when you feel run down, at night, like after a long night out, on a flight, I mean, there's just a million uses for it. I personally also love a lot of the flavors. Like, everything tastes good.
Tangerine, and it's immune boosting. It's my favorite. It's
Yeah.
so good.
Grape is like, I'm on a grape kick.
The Concord grape, that's David's
It's
favorite.
so good.
That's
It's
David's.
honestly goes quick in our house. So I have to like kind of hoard it in my work bag. And then Will gets mad and is like, "Where's the rest of the Concord grape?"
That's what
I'm like,
I
stole
hoard the
it all."
tangerine. I take it to work.
Yeah. So 1 stick of liquid IV and 16 ounces of water hydrates you 2 times faster and more efficiently than water alone. Um, Also, Liquid IV is on a mission to change the world. To date, they have donated over 36 million servings in 50 plus countries around the world. Grab your Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco, or you can get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code MAILIN at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MAILIN at liquidiv.com. All right, Lily,
Hello.
welcome to the podcast. You missed our first question.
I did.
But that's okay. We're
I'll
happy
think
to
about
have you
my
on.
favorite bit.
What do you have a favorite bit?
No, I'll think about it.
Okay, you can answer at the end of
We
it.
didn't know either.
For those watching at home, Lily's got baby girl Brady in the stew as well, her first podcast.
Yeah, Brady's first podcast. Drew's gonna be pissed.
Yeah, Drew
She made it
still
on
hasn't been
before
on.
he did. She's been alive for 5 weeks and she made it on.
Yeah, way to
Sorry,
go.
Drew.
This next question is actually really topical, and maybe Lily can give us the answers we need here. Gals, when is the best time to have a second kid? And what is something you do for yourself at least once a week or every day for your mental health as a mother? Let's answer the second kid question first.
Okay. I feel like we've been asked something similar before, Sally, but I don't think there's really someone once told me, and this was I like remember whenever you have it is the best time.
Correct.
Because if you try to plan it too much, I think makes it harder. Then you're stressed if it doesn't happen when you want it to happen. But I think really any age gap, you just make
it work for you.
I wanted less than 2 years because all of us are less than 2 years. And I think as we've gotten older, it has made it fun. But then I have friends that have kids 3 years apart, and it's like the 3-year-old is really like understanding, and like it's really sweet to see like a 3-year-old who actually kind of knows what's going on with a little sibling. And then there's people that have like 4 or 5 years in between, and the 4 and 5-year-old can help out. So it's like, I think really any age difference you make, and you have pros and cons. But I think for me, especially if we wanted to have more, like me and Sally are 23 months apart.
No, we're 25.
We are?
2 years and 1 month.
No. You're
June,
older.
And I'm July. Oh, you're right. Sorry. You're 23.
Okay, 23. I was like,
Wow,
I've
math is hard for
I've been
people.
telling people 23 for years, and I was like, oh my gosh. And so Dane and Brady are 22, and I think Sally and I, our age gap is really good. And then my brother and I are close, but 17. But I think it makes it fun. Now that we're older, it's like we're in the same kind of part of life, which I think is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I don't think that you can put a perfect time. Like, it's really dependent upon what you want and what your lifestyle is. I have girlfriends that have had babies back to back. I mean, less than a year apart.
Oh God.
And that's just the way they want it. They want to knock it out. They want to get the newborn years and all of that. It's hard. Like, they just want
Keep
to
them all
knock
in
it
the
out
same phase.
and just kind of bring them all up together. And for some people, that's, what they want to do, and that's great. And then there's some people that want a few years between. They need a breather. They need to figure everything out, and it's such a personal choice, and I don't think there's a wrong way to do it.
Personal choice too about when you even have a kid. If you have a kid, when you have a kid,
how many you want.
how many you want.
I think that plays a big part into it, your age and how many you want. If you want 5, then yeah, you probably can't wait 3 years between each one because you're gonna not.
Well, and like I think, knowing you want a child is number one. Knowing that you both want to be parents, then you have to try to have a kid. There's a whole caveat of things.
Financial obligations.
Right. things of caveats that come with that of like, am I able to have children? Can we afford children? Can we do this? All those things. Then you have a child. And then really I think that gears you up for like, am I ready to have another one? I think you know yourself best. And how did you handle if the first year was like total hell for you and you haven't gotten over it yet, or maybe your pregnancy was hell for you and you haven't gotten over it yet.
Yeah.
Like those are all things to take in consideration. I think the biggest thing for me right now, and Lily knows this. I mean, I'm sure you felt the same way. I know you feel the same way, Alyssa, is like, it's a really personal choice. I have learned, having been pregnant and having a kid and etc., is that people asking you is almost like putting more pressure, dread, etc., on it because you
Mhm.
never know what someone's going through. And so when people are like, when you're married
When are you
and
having a
you haven't had a
kid?
kid,
Yeah.
when are y'all having kids? Well, maybe we don't wanna have kids. Maybe I'm having
Maybe I've
fertility
tried,
Yeah.
problems.
yeah.
Maybe we're trying. Maybe I had just had a loss. Like, I don't think people are doing it maliciously. No one's ever saying that, like, being like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And no
Yeah.
one's trying to be intrusive, but I think it's so common in our society to, like, get married, have kids, especially at our age, that it's a question I get all the time now that Fritz is older, and I'm like, I just don't even have the bandwidth to answer that right now.
Right.
Like,
It's a really personal question.
it is, and I think if you are out there and whether you're a man or a woman, and you do not have kids, have never been pregnant, etc., just be aware when you are asking those type of questions to your friends to like approach it from a level of kindness to make sure that your friends are open and willing to talk about it because sometimes that it can be really triggering for people,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know? Um and I don't think I realized that until I was pregnant myself.
No, you never realize it. It's like when you give people gifts that have kids, like you give their kids gifts and then you have a kid and you're like, why the hell did I give someone that for a baby gift? It's
Right.
like hindsight. Just and then now that you have been pregnant or had a kid, you're like, that's so annoying. Don't ask people that.
Yeah.
But it is a hard question
And they might
because
not know themselves. They might be like,
yeah,
I'm still trying to figure out that
right.
Yeah.
question. And I think that just to go full circle and answer that question that is just it's just your personal choice and it just depends on
You and
your
your life.
Right. And
personality.
talk to your partner or
How do
husband
you think
about it.
you
Yeah.
would handle that many, littles in your house at one time?
Mhm.
How
That
much
was one
space
thing
do
I
you
was
have?
gonna say. Like, I mean, I think women get more prepared because you are like, you know, growing the
Yes.
child and you're like knowing what's happening. But definitely talk to your partner or husband about it because it is man to man. So it's like
When
you
yeah.
really need both hands on
Then you go
deck.
3 and you gotta go
Yeah.
zone defense.
Yeah.
What is one thing that you do for yourself for your mental health as a mom?
I After Dave and I put the baby down
Mhm.
and we make dinner, Dave and I eat together every night. And then really after that, I'm like, "Okay, honey, now this is when I get my alone time.
Mhm.
Some quiet.
I'm gonna go back here and I don't wanna see anybody. I don't wanna hear anything. I'm just gonna go back there." And I watch a show for an hour or I
Yeah.
read a book for an hour. And that's just sort of, my time to decompress. And for David too,
Mhm.
his time to kind of decompress and, be, as parents and just full-time working adults, we oftentimes don't have a lot of like alone time. And I think that's well, for me, it's really important. I really value my alone time. I think it's really important to me to have just that hour a day
Mhm.
where I can decompress. And I love getting lost in shows and books. It's one of my favorite pastimes. And on another note, I I got a membership at a spa before Christmas.
Oh.
And I
Oh,
once a
hell
month
yeah.
take a day. You can get like with the memberships, there's different like amenities that you can
We're
get.
gonna need to talk about this
I
after the
will
show.
offline. We can talk about where it is and it's awesome. It's something that I've only been doing a few months, but
Yeah.
it's great. No regrets.
I mean, mine kinda changes, like, weekly. We spend one thing that we really established early on after having Fritz was that the other person needed time alone, and we couldn't make that person feel guilty about it. So if Will was gonna go golf, and I'm really mad about this, he gets the time to golf, and I don't say shit. I don't complain about Fritz. I don't like tell him he needs to come home. When he comes home, I don't hand Fritz straight to him. It's like that was his alone time. He gets to go off and do his thing. Like same thing for me going to a girls' dinner, whatever. So that was something that we established early on is like, if you need the time, you like don't be gone every night, but like, and it's not a tit for tat situation either. I'm like, if Will the golfs, I don't automatically like schedule my own self a thing, but we try to both make time for ourselves. And then also I told this to a coworker today. Recently, like will be annoyed with me because I'll be on my phone after we put Fritz to bed, and he's like, you know, we aren't spending time together. And finally, like a couple weeks ago, I just looked up at him and I was like, I need 20 minutes to look at Instagram and not think about anything. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to like know what's going on. I just want to like trash my brain with Instagram reels for 20 minutes.
That's how I am. I'm like, I haven't checked my text messages in 3 hours. I'm just gonna see
I'm
what my
just going to
sisters
be
are talking
silent
about.
and like and look at my phone. And I just need that time. We've been trying to be better about like screen time, especially around Fritz, with
Right.
us like being on our phones and like trying to be. We don't want to be on our phones all the time in front of him, and we want to be present with him. So like I'm like I come back, I'm just gonna spend 20 minutes on Instagram. I'm just gonna like
Let me live.
I'm gonna look at the new arrivals on Shopbop. Just like let me do my thing for 20 minutes. But I think it doesn't always have to be a consistent thing. It can be a date night, it can be whatever, but just make sure that you communicate about it and that you are like giving each other the space that you need. And that is so important. I think in the beginning we thought we have to be in everything together. We have to spend all this time together. We both have to be doing every single thing with the baby all the time. I made Will get up with me every time I breastfed for like the first 2 weeks.
No way.
And then he
Oh,
found out
gosh.
that none of his other guy friends were
Oh
waking up.
no.
And also,
Drew was not doing that.
no, you know why he did it? It's because Drew was like, I get up and I like change the baby.
Drew did do that with Bane. With this one, he's like getting 9 hours
Right.
of sleep. I don't
Well,
wanna
no,
hear
but
it.
like,
Like you could low key see like David's a whoop. Like
Yeah.
I think that's like public information. And I think
you're like, his recovery is 98%
why,
every day.
why did he get 7.5 hours last night? 8? What?
But then also I realized like I do way better on less sleep than Will does. And he's such a turd if I wake him up in the middle of the night. Or like even when I leave for work, if my phone's too bright or my vibrate went off too loud, he's like, I'm like,
Dramatic.
okay, you're dramatic. So he's just not a, like a early morning person, a wake up, like he does not function well on no sleep. So I basically figured out a couple weeks in, I was like, you're going to sleep. I'm going to try not to wake you up unless it's like a true emergency. And I'm going to get through the night so that you can be rested and handle it during the day.
Yeah.
And that has worked better for us. And same thing in the mornings. Like I try not to wake him up in the morning when I leave for work because then he's going to have to get up in like an hour and then do the whole shebang with Fritz.
Right.
So, you know, it is what it is. You get through it.
It is what it is.
Okay.
What
I
do you
didn't
do for
say my
yourself?
mental. Probably
yeah.
I need to do more, but really, this is so silly. Right now, while I'm on maternity leave and she sleeps a lot, I just lay down when Bane's laying down. I'm like, every day Drew's like, he wants to go to the gym or whatever. And I'm like, that's your choice. I want to lay down and do nothing. So
Lily's like maybe too forgiving. I think Lily I love Drew. Drew gets to do anything he wants, and Lily probably needs to get a spa membership.
he's always like, do you want to go do this? And I'm like, no, I want to lay down.
That's how I
all I
was
want to
too.
do. Don't judge me for wanting to nap.
Yeah.
Like
And
when
sometimes I didn't even want to nap. I was like, I want to go by myself. I just want to be alone.
yeah, and
Yeah.
just lay
just-
down, like Sally said, on my phone or like
Yep.
watching. The other day I was like watching Catfish on TV. I was like, I didn't even know this was still on, but I was like, it was just so stupid. And I was like, this is what I want to do. So you go to the gym and I will be here laying horizontal.
I
Yeah.
think that's awesome.
I'm a nap person.
Same. All right, let's get to the next one, ladies. My friends and I are in a pickle. We have a friend who's ordered on bed rest and has been for a month because she was in preterm labor with triplets. She's been hospitalized 3 times for a week each time, yet refuses to listen to the doctor's orders and is still up and about doing all of her normal things with her toddler, husband, family, dogs, etc. It's becoming really frustrating for us to watch because she's only 31 weeks along and the babies are so small still. The worst part is she's a nurse and she should know better. Do we say anything? If so, how do we do this tactfully without upsetting her? All right, first of all, I'm just going to say we got this question probably a few days ago. I hope this girl's still pregnant
Right.
because preterm labor with multiples is super common. And as a nurse, if someone orders you on bed rest, and I do a lot of OB anesthesia for people who are in preterm labor, you just follow the doctor's orders. Like,
Right.
I mean, I think that there are women who are in preterm labor who wish that bed rest would do it for them and wish they could keep their babies in longer, and kind of like throwing it in people's faces that you're just like, well, I was ordered for bed rest, but I'm just going to do what I want. Like, just
That being said, I think tread lightly with telling your like, maybe talk to her partner or husband or
I
whoever,
agree.
like, let them be the bearer of bad news that she needs to follow the orders, because you want to be careful with a hormonal
Yeah,
pregnant woman telling
she's
her what to do.
she's an adult. She has all the facts and she's choosing to not follow her doctor's recommendations. I don't know what you can tell her that you love her and you're worried
Or
about her,
maybe I was gonna
but
say offer to do stuff for her, to like
Yeah.
hint, like, you
Yeah.
shouldn't be doing this. I will do it for you, or offer to help, or if I don't know if she already has the other kids or whatever, but and then maybe talk to her husband, like, let us know how we can help you so that she can follow the orders, but not without being like,
Right.
you need to listen to your doctor.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
don't think that there's an intervention necessary here. I don't think that like all
Agreed.
of you need to confront her. I do agree that like maybe especially if one of you is really close with her or her husband, you like mention to the husband like, "Hey, we're like pretty worried about Rachel. We want her to take it easy. How can we help out? Like
Mhm.
would love to like babysit so that she can get some time to rest or bring y'all dinner or whatever."
Right.
Another way to do it is like if she's hitting you up to be like, "Let's go on a walk," or like, "Let's have a girls' dinner." You're like, "We'll come to you. We'll cook. Like, we'll do all
Yeah.
the stuff."
Rachel, you know you're not supposed to be walking. Ha
Yeah.
ha.
Like,
Not
don't give her the opportunity to do more than she's already doing. So if she's hitting up the friends need to stay strong of like, "We'll come to your house and watch TV with you," or like, "Have dinner at your house. We don't want to like, you need to take it easy, put your feet up." That's number 1. Number 2 is probably talking to her husband. If you are really that concerned, like that her health is at risk, I do think that there is a place for one person who is the closest to her to just be like, "Hey, I'm worried about you. Like, how can I help?" You don't need to say it from a point of judgment,
right.
right? But like, "We're worried about you." Not even more. "I am worried about you." Because you don't want to make it like
We've all been
everyone
talking
against
about
you.
it.
She doesn't
Yeah.
want to feel ganged up on.
Yeah. I'm worried about you, not we. I've said it like 4 times. How can I help? We want to ease your burden. I want you to be able to rest and like have the last few weeks of rest that you can before these babies come. How can I help you? Can I ask anybody else to help you as well? As I think the closest friend does that, not
Right.
rando side
And I
friend.
and I think as the friend, you're going to have to accept the reality that she might say, "Nope, I'm fine. I don't need
Exactly.
anything." And then at that point, I know it's hard to watch someone do something that you know is bad for them, but you have to also let people make their choices, I think, and just be there for her, I think, at the end of the
Mhm.
day, and like Sally said, just
Don't come at it from a place of judgment. It's a
no.
place of like support. I
Right.
think this is anytime you're watching someone that you're close to do something that you're just like totally disagree with, unless they're like just physically harming themselves or someone else, which I think the case could be made here that she
Sh
could. But, I don't know that it's your place to step in, you know?
But I am wondering, like, where is the husband in this matter? Help her out,
Well,
dude,
and
or
like
keep her
maybe he
still.
doesn't understand the gravity of it.
Right.
I think that that's a place where you can say something. Like if I was doing that and y'all were concerned about me, I think Will might not even understand that like that would be bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm
Like
just
how grave
laughing
it
because
is.
remember when I was like trying to keep Brady in, Drew was like, wouldn't let me walk to the car. He's like, I'll get it. I'm like, dude, okay. More for fear of he didn't want to have a baby yet. But I'm like, dude, okay, I can do it. So maybe her husband just has no clue.
Yeah. And then that's the case where you're like, we'd love to make Rachel's last
Right.
few weeks easy on her. How
Or
can I help
and
you?
tell him like, hey, try to keep her resting. Maybe. I don't know. Don't like
Yeah,
don't
because if she's not being supported at home, and I'm not saying that that's what this is, and if she has a toddler running around, sorry, that toddler needs to be tended
right.
Yeah.
to, and if
Yeah,
he's
someone
not
has
there to
to.
help and she's just there, like, we
Yeah.
can't let the toddler, unlock the back door and go outside.
Right.
Like, or, like, we can't let
Climb up
like
the bookshelf.
yes,
Yeah.
we have to
Intervene.
do those things, and she might be really suffering too. Like, it's hard for some people to stay still,
Mhm.
and it there's just, I think, a lot of variables at play
Yeah.
here, and you have to take those into consideration and just try to be as, like Sally said, like, as non-judgmental and just coming from a place of love, and then also understanding that she might make a choice that you don't agree with, and you have to be okay with that, and you
Right.
just have to let it go.
It's her pregnancy, not
It's her
yours.
pregnancy.
You know what you could do for her though? Like to help her out? Get her a little green chef box.
Mm.
Oh,
I
hell
love
yeah.
that segue.
Actually, it's
Very
really
smooth of
great that
you.
Lily is here because Alyssa, I don't know if y'all have had Green Chef. I think I know that I have.
I know that
because-
I've had
I
a
have.
box of something sent to my home
Yeah.
where it has pre-made, like,
So this
cut
is
up, like,
exactly y'all. Will and I both got them in January. Okay, we got them the same week.
oh wait, yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
so you've had it. You know,
Yeah, we did.
There was no way we were gonna make 3 of the same meals double portions. Okay, so I gave a box to Lily postpartum.
Convenient for me.
Was this
It
the one with,
like
like, the meatballs?
Yeah,
And, yeah, we did get
it was a
chicken
delight.
sandwiches are
First of
really
all,
good.
very well known on the mail in here that Jeff. Jeff. Who the fuck is Jeff?
Who's Jeff?
Sorry, got that already. Brett and I are Green Chef stans. Okay, Jeff and Brett and I. Honestly, I'm not kidding. I think Green Chef is like one of our favorite sponsors, which both of us have purchased outside of being sponsored by them. But I also have to say, besides all of the great things about Green Chef, that they have a great menu, like 30 plus recipes, all very easy, but also make you feel like you are actually cooking a really nice meal, all with tons of different options. We've got organic ground beef, organic chicken, wild caught sockeye salmon. Like, you've got all these different menu options. It's the #1 meal kit for eating well because they have keto, vegan, vegetarian, fast and fit, Mediterranean, gluten-free. You can have like all these options. I think that we got a keto box. And also it makes your life so easy. You don't have to think about a thing. As 3 moms, we all know having to think about dinner is like and getting dinner on the table for you and your husband and toddler is a nightmare. So somebody taking out that work and having to like meal prep, meal plan makes it so much better. But I honestly, after I gave it to Lily, I was like, this is going to be my new go-to postpartum gift. Because that's the thing. I liked when
Smart.
people brought me meals. Sometimes I just wanted to cook myself.
Or sometimes they brought you something and you already had something else from the person the day before, leftovers or something. That was what was so nice. Sally gave me the 3 and I just made them like whenever. One of them I made for lunch one day, and then one of them I made when I didn't have a meal getting delivered. So I got to pick when I made it, and I straight up felt like a chef.
Yeah.
I was like, Drew, I crushed this. He's like, okay, it was basically written exactly how to do it. I was like, I don't care. I made it.
And what's nice is they're easy to make. It doesn't have
Yeah.
300 ingredients that you have to get. It feels really simple, and it doesn't feel like you're going to spend an hour in the kitchen. I mean, you can make it in 30 minutes, which is what I
think
liked. I
all
was
of
like,
them are
this
like
was
30
fast
or
and this was
less.
tasty.
But I also like that when I'm getting it, I'm not wasting food at the grocery store, because what happens is when I meal plan, I buy all the stuff. Then at the end of the day, I'm lazy and I don't want to deal with it. And then I have all this food waste. And with Green Chef, you're reducing your food waste by up to 38% versus grocery shopping, which is great. So for our listeners, you can go to greenchef.com/mail60 and use the code mail60 to get 60% off plus free shipping. That is greenchef.com/mail60 to get 60% off plus free shipping. That's the #1 meal kit for eating well.
Don't sleep on the chicken sandwiches. They seem so
They
lame.
were
so
delightful.
good.
They were delightful. All right, here's one about marriage, you guys. I just got married a couple weeks ago. This is actually I put 2 questions into one
Okay.
here. I just got married a couple weeks ago. Any advice for your first year of marriage? And also, what advice do you have for what happens after you have your first like blowout fight as a married couple?
Yikes. I'm trying to think of our
So,
first.
first year of marriage, I think it's really important to give yourself grace. I think, especially in the age of social media, like we now, especially when I was younger, like, and my friends who were getting married in their like mid to late 20s, it was like everything was this Instagram palooza of like my bachelorette party, my wedding, my blah, blah, blah. And I think it's really easy to like ride that high. And then you get married and you're like,
Now what?
shit,
Mhm.
like I'm not a bride anymore. The attention's not on me. I don't have this huge event to plan. Like, I have all this free time. Like, what exciting thing do I have to look forward
It's
to?
over.
And I think that is very common for a lot of brides. I don't know how like men feel about that, but I think that that is like really common once you're a girl and you get married. Um, and you then have all of this social media competition. Like, you're watching people. We say this so often, social media is a highlight reel. You are not seeing anybody's authentic self. Like, I know we're trying to be out there being authentic, but like you're seeing the best moments of people's lives. And when you are in any stage of your life, especially if you're going through something hard, like maybe marriage is an adjustment for you, maybe postpartum is an adjustment for you, maybe you're in your 20s and you're feeling alone because you're single and all your friends are in couples. You have to remember that everything you're seeing is not 100% of what's going on. There, that's the tip of an iceberg, and everything below is what is actually happening. So I think number one is like don't compare yourself to other couples. Like,
Right.
especially if you have friends who are getting married around the same time as you. It's like you can't ever play the comparison game because you're just gonna lose it. Like if someone bought a house and you haven't bought a house yet, you
Mm.
can't be upset about that. If someone's having a baby and you're not, you can't be upset about that. If someone's had a blowout wedding and you had something small, you're never gonna win the game, right?
Right.
Um, so that was my number one. Number two for me is like we kept doing our premarital counseling just as couples counseling post our marriage, like our actual wedding. And I think that was really helpful for us just across the
I was
board.
gonna say one for me, it doesn't like have to change. Like Drew and I dated for 5 years before we got married. And it was like when people were like, oh, what's it like being married? It's like, oh, it's
It's
the
exactly the
same.
same as it was before
The same. I
Saturday.
changed my last name and now we're like officially married. And so like if you're already living together or whatever and you don't change very much, it's not like you have to put this pressure on yourself to be like, "Oh, now we're married. We have to act different or we have to do things differently than we did before."
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think what's a harder transition is if you haven't lived with someone yet. If
Right.
you haven't lived with your husband yet, like living with someone is can be a little jarring.
Talk about
You don't
fights.
yeah, you don't know and there's nowhere to go when you do fight. So like you're in the same house still. And I think that when you live with someone for the first time, you know what my advice would be? Talk about how you're going to handle chores.
Mhm.
What's the expectation?
Yeah, who does what?
What is that expectation? How do you make sure one person's not doing everything? Like, did he come from a home where his mother did his laundry till the day he left? Is that something that he's going to expect from you? What about who makes dinner? Who gets the groceries? Who keeps the house? Like, who's going to clean that bathtub? Like, there's
Mhm.
just I think like keeping a home is challenging and not establishing clear boundaries about how you plan on taking care of that home with your spouse. And if you don't have that conversation, you could end up feeling resentful
Mhm.
if they didn't know that you had those expectations. So I
Right.
think that's why, it's hard living with someone. So if you didn't live with your husband prior to when you got married,
That's definitely a
like I would
transition.
say that would be a huge transition and that can
Yeah.
be really hard. And I think that, that first year that you're living together is you figure out a lot about a person when you live with them
Yeah.
that maybe you didn't know prior. Um and so I think having that conversation is going to be really helpful in the long run. And like, I do think giving yourself grace and giving your spouse grace and understanding that they are not a perfect person. You're not a perfect person. There's going to be moments where you feel irritated, and there's going to be moments where it might not be exactly what you thought it was going to be. Because, like Sally said, I feel like marriage is this like shiny, sparkling highlight where you see people get married and it's this love story and it's this fairy tale. When in reality, it's a lot of work at the
Right.
same time, and it's not easy.
That was gonna be my other advice for, like, first year is just, like, try to enjoy being married. It maybe if it's not it isn't that much different, but you wanna try to enjoy it, not put so much pressure on, like,
Yeah.
the, social media side or everyone like, you being married now, whether you decide to share finances or you just move in together or whatever, you still
Finances,
want it to
God.
be, like, a happy time between you and your spouse. That's why you got married.
What do y'all think about blow up fights?
Ooh.
So we still see a couples counselor, not like regularly, but like randomly. And it always starts out like this. She's like, "What do y'all want to talk about?" We're like, "Oh, we're so good. Like everything's great. We
We
did have
didn't
a
even need to
fight 2
come.
weeks ago." And she's like, "What happened?" And we'll like say it. And then we start getting into it.
Oh gosh.
And I'll be like, "This didn't even feel like a blow up." And like now I'm realizing that it was a blowout. Like, and at the time it didn't seem like it was that bad. But there's two things I've learned from that too. Number one, that she always tells me, shouts to my therapist, is you have to be able to identify your feelings before you can tell someone else how you're feeling and expect them to know how to react to you. So, like, we'll talk about a fight we're having, and she's like, "What was your emotions there, Sally?" And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I was angry, I think. Like, something, and she's like, "Why were you upset with Will?" And you, like, cannot you have to verbalize to your if you're in a big blowout fight, like, maybe who knows what it's about, but you have to be like, "Why am I upset right now? Is it because he was off at golf and wasn't home all day, and I wanted to spend time with him, and, like, that's why I'm upset? Like, I need quality time? Am I mad because he was late and he said, like, he didn't follow through with something, and he said he was gonna be home by 6, but he really came home at 7 after having drinks with the boys? Like, why am I upset? Like, what led to me being pissed?" And same for your partner. Like, all she's always like, "Identify the emotion first." And if you can't do it in the moment, which is hard, you need to stop what you're doing and take some time apart. Because I
Mhm.
think the biggest thing in marriage, especially early on, is when you're fighting, you're like, we gotta power through this. We're gonna finish this fight. We're not gonna go to bed angry.
Yeah.
Or I am determined to be right and I'm gonna keep fighting you till you just submit to
Apologize.
the fact that I'm correct. And that's not always good. Sometimes you need to take a step back and be like, we need to calm down. I need to like see this other person's point of view. I need to know why I'm upset. I need to get out of the heat of the moment. So those are like the two things. Like if you are going in circles and you're just like, I'm right, you're wrong, even if you're not saying that and you're like, okay, I'm sorry that you felt that way, but you did this, which is
Uh-huh.
my like go-to line. You have to be like, why am I so hell bent on this? Like maybe there was a miscommunication there. And then when we have started doing that. Like if we're fighting and we can't get through it, we're like, let's take some time apart where we can like think about it, think about what we've done, whatever. Take the time and identify your emotions so you can come back to the person and say, I felt this when you did this.
Our premarital counselor, the one thing he told me that was, like, I always remember is separate, like, what you're feeling, like, how you felt and what they did. So, like, he was always like, "If Drew does this and you're, like, so mad, he might not even realize that what he was doing was gonna make you mad, but you're assuming that he's doing
Right.
it to make you mad." So he was like, "Separate what made you mad and then how it made you feel." So telling Drew, like, screaming at him or whatever and saying things you don't mean, which is what I thought you were gonna say earlier, is like, it just turns into, like, you're just trying to win the argument, so you just start saying things that you probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
But he said,
I'm gonna sleep
"Tell"
at
yeah.
Lily's house tonight.
"Tell Drew
Pull that a couple times.
this is what you did that hurt my feelings or pissed me off or whatever, and I know you maybe didn't mean to do this, but this is why it hurt my feelings."
Right.
So, like you said, if you're not even mad about that situation, you're just mad he was gone all day, like, "Hey, I'm just really frustrated. You were gone all day, and now I'm taking it out on what you just did, but like separating the feeling from what was actually the occurrence.
Yeah.
And then I think talking through it, like you said, I think there's like, everyone's like, don't go to bed angry, blah, blah. So then you're like, okay, let's get through the fight. So we're not we're not going to go to bed angry. So then you just kind of like half-ass apologize. So you're like not going to
But
bed
then
angry.
you just
but
harbor
then
that
you're-
resentment.
But then you wake up and you're still pissed. So actually like talking about it. And if you do need to go to bed, not angry, but if you need to go to bed, like, hey, let's just table this. We're both tired or emotional or whatever. And I don't want to talk about it anymore. Let's go to bed.
Mhm.
That's okay too. You don't have to like speed through the fight and then make it worse because you were trying not to go to bed angry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys both kind of summed it up pretty well. And just to add one more thing, um, have enough self-awareness to know when you have crossed a line and own it
Yeah.
and apologize for it.
I'm
It'll
very
take
bad
you a
at
really
that.
long way. Sometimes people just want to know
That
that
you
like you accept that you did hurt
Yeah.
them. And because guess what? It's going to happen. Your spouse is going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Maybe intentionally, maybe not. It's going to happen. And you
Mhm.
need to also, in turn, have the maturity to accept that apology. Don't hold on to it. Don't bring it up later in another fight.
Mhm.
If you truly forgive them, you forgive them.
Right.
And you move on from that. And you're not going to hold it in your holster later on and bring it up when you get mad again.
Yeah.
That's immature. And it's not healthy to hold on to things and own when you were wrong.
Yeah. Which is hard in the moment.
It
It's
is.
hard to know
I'm still bad at
when you
that.
start
I'm
getting in a
horrible.
fight and then someone
I'm
snaps
never
at
wrong.
you when you
Never been wrong
right.
before.
It's like
Wrong?
you have
Not
to
me.
have the humility to be like, okay, you're right. That was me. That was all. But honestly, that's why I'm like, you got to take the space. At least for me,
Mhm.
I need time away to be like, I might not be fully right on this one. So I'm gonna
I
have
know.
to just
I know.
suck it
Sometimes you
up.
just need them to not like you need to not be yelling at each other and just thinking about it yourself and being like, wow, yeah, I kind of screwed that one up.
Yeah. Yes. I think we nailed that. All right. My wife has been verbally abusive to me for almost her entire pregnancy and the months after. I understand she's going through more than I could ever comprehend, and I try to roll with the punches, but it's gotten to the point it's affecting my mental health and the way I feel towards her. Do I suck it up and try to keep brushing it off, or is this something that needs to be discussed? Thanks.
I mean, it definitely needs to be discussed.
Yeah.
Yeah. This 100% warrants a conversation. There is not an excuse for chronic verbal abuse.
Correct.
That is not okay. All three of us here have been pregnant. We all have given birth to children and have had that postpartum experience. I know firsthand that it was really tricky for me
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning. It was such a hard adjustment. And I oftentimes felt like the adjustment was harder for me than some of my peers that were having babies at the same time. We all three, I think, had babies within like
A couple months.
a couple months
3
of
months
each
of
other.
each other.
And however, your pregnancy and your postpartum feelings are not an excuse or a free ride to take out every single angry emotion that you have onto your spouse. That's not okay. You need a conversation. She's clearly struggling. She's may need to seek therapy and talk to someone because it sounds like there's an underlying issue going on, because I'm going to say it, like, this isn't normal behavior.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of the situation. And I'm really sorry. You don't deserve that. This should be a really, really joyful time in your life, not one where you're feeling bullied.
Yeah.
Um,
What I think what's interesting to me, because I think had I just said postpartum, I would have been like, she's got some postpartum depression,
Yeah, you
anxiety,
can't-
etc.
You don't get to count what you say in the middle of the night
Right.
postpartum.
And
None
it
of that
doesn't
counts.
count.
It doesn't count.
Those
But-
first few weeks, nothing counts.
Nothing we said counts, okay?
Erase that from existence.
But I think that there is an important distinction here. If your partner is postpartum and their mood is completely drastically changed from what it was pre-baby, and this is like excluding the exhaustion. I'm talking about like I knew I had postpartum depression because I literally cried every waking moment for 2 weeks. And I was like, this is probably not right. And Will was like,
Mhm.
yeah, this doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
And then I like got on meds and it helped immensely. That is one thing. It's also pregnancy's not a great time. I was pregnant at the same time as y'all. I hated it for the most part. Lily was like shitting rainbows on a unicorn.
And I was somewhere in the middle.
And the list was in the middle. And it was honestly, especially with Lily, I was like, I can't even talk to. I couldn't. Lily at one point did confront me. It was like, I feel like we should be like happy together. And I was like, I can't be around you, honestly.
Sorry.
I'm so miserable. No, but it was important for you to say that to me. You're like, it's kind of hurting my feelings. I feel like you're avoiding me, or like you have this resentment towards me. And I was like, I do. I'm glad.
Thanks for calling it out. I
Thank
do
you for
hate
telling me. I do.
Facts.
I'm jealous of you. But it was important for me to get there because I think I was watching, again, social media, everyone have this great pregnancy, and I didn't feel the same way. But that being said, I never once, as much as I like, will joke that I like sighed a lot and grunted a lot. But I never like, and I was like annoying and I had to pee all the time and I complained and blah, blah, but I never was abusive towards him. Maybe I had a shorter fuse some days, but it was never like a
Definitely
chronic
shorter
thing.
fuse.
This warrants a conversation. It definitely comes from a place of like, hey, I feel this way. You are making me feel this way.
Right.
It doesn't feel good when you do XYZ. I'm also concerned about you. Are you in a good place?
Yeah, I was gonna say avoid when you're confronting and giving or having that discussion saying, and it's your hormones or
Right.
whatever. You know, you gotta tread lightly on blaming everything on the hormones and postpartum. That is probably the reason.
I'm not sure we can blame this on pregnancy.
Right.
'Cause
Yeah,
I think we have
you
all
have
been
to say, regardless of pregnant, not pregnant, whatever.
this is
This
a problem.
is a problem. Yeah.
This is for me a like hard red flag. You got to seek a therapist right now.
Mm-hmm.
I love you, guy who wrote in. I don't know you. I absolutely here for all three of us to give you some advice, but this needs professional help. Anytime you're in an abusive situation, someone else who's a mental health provider needs to probably be involved.
Yeah, and remember you've got this precious newborn baby now, and that baby deserves parents that are of healthy, like sound mind, and we all love our kids and want to do what's best for them. And I think in this situation, the best thing that you can do is have that conversation and hopefully loop in a therapist that can guide you into how to have those conversations too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're right. Maybe there is something underlying that she needs to talk about, but it definitely, you shouldn't be suffering in silence about this.
And
This is not,
and he'll definitely create
this is not
resentment
normal.
if he
No, and it's not like
leaves it
a
alone.
burden that like you just have to bear. You just
Right.
have to roll with these punches because that's not normal.
Right. Good luck.
Good
Yeah.
luck.
I'm sorry
Yeah.
you're going through this. And congratulations on your new baby.
I know.
All right. Last question, ladies. Well, there's the last one and then there's a bonus round. I'm all for Galentines and girls getting together. However, as three wives, what is the equivalent celebration that you'd let your husbands throw down for? Is it surrounded by a holiday? It's called golf on Saturdays.
Literally the
Super Bowl, Masters,
the-
fantasy golf draft
The
weekend.
first thing I thought is every weekend he gets a Galentine's because he goes to golf for 5 hours, which there is nothing equivalent that we do that takes 5 hours.
Yeah.
So
Maybe when I'm joining Alyssa's spa routine.
right, maybe we're gonna start Galentining every month at the spa.
I'm not here to shit on golf. Okay. Whatever. He
Love
can play
golf.
It.
No,
Sure.
yeah,
I'm just going to say this, though. There is not a single hobby that I have where I would get up at 7 a.m., go somewhere for 6 hours, especially in Texas in the sweltering, hot heat, and just be so psyched about it and then just skip all of my other daily obligations. There's not
and
one.
also do it multiple days in a row.
Yeah.
Will does not, to be fair,
Drew
Will
doesn't either now, but
way
he
less
would
than Drew does.
if he could
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah,
Friday,
Will,
Saturday,
Will would
Sunday,
if he could.
he
If I
would.
didn't complain.
Yeah.
David
And
would absolutely
like-
as well. He loves to play.
Like you said, not shitting on golf
At
by
all.
all
I mean, I
means,
clearly am
have-
shitting on golf,
Yeah.
but I'm going to
No,
just
have
be aware
fun,
that I am.
But you don't need the equivalent of my 2-hour wine night with my girlfriends once a year at Galentine's, okay?
It takes an act of Congress to get me and my girlfriends from college together. It takes like 18 months for us to figure out a
Right,
weekend that
yeah.
works for everyone. And you know, and let me be clear, I'm not letting David do anything. David makes these
Decisions for
decisions
himself,
for
and
himself,
he
and I say
consults me, and
that's
I say
fine.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we talk about it together,
I
and
let
like
him
it's
do
fine.
it.
And
Just
like
kidding.
I don't feel like David has to be like, Alyssa, can I go
Right.
do these things? Like he knows when he's probably crossing a line of I've
Mhm.
been gone every single Saturday,
Right.
or I'm going into like he always consults me
Yeah.
and asks, like we talk about these things together, but I'm not like yes or no. Like
Yeah.
it's
Right.
not like
Please
this
fill
like
out an
it's just like,
application and I will
submit my
approve.
response.
It takes a little bit more planning for us just because I have to work call on weekends. So
Sure.
that's where I'm like, just let me know because
In advance.
I'm on call on Saturday. We've actually worked out a lot better because we now share a calendar, which was difficult because we'll be like, I straight up forgot that you had call and I said yes to golf. I'm like,
Mhm.
well,
And then once you say yes, you can't back out because then it's a
know.
problem with your guy friends.
Right.
So
Oh yeah.
I totally, I mean, I know that I'm coming off sounding like the nagging wife. That's not the case. I think, again, going back to the question of like, what do you do that's good for your mental health? We have really made it a priority to be like, we cannot like judge each other based on these things. Like, that you did this, so I'm doing this. You did golf, now I'm doing Galentine's dinner. I really try to keep that to a minimum. I want him to go out and enjoy his time. I want to
Mhm.
not contact him while he's out there. He does the same for me. But I don't think that girls having one Galentine's, and I mean, obviously, girls have Galentine's on. I guess it's technically Monday the 13th. Uh, like you said, it's girls are a
Oh,
lot
is that
harder.
like an official thing?
Yeah, I think it's like that's when
Oh,
Galentine's is
Oh,
per
so
Parks
they-
and Rec, the show.
Well, hell yeah. What are we
Uh,
doing Monday, ladies?
But
Jeffries for three?
Yeah.
Someone make a reservation.
But I think guys, a girl, like for some reason with my girlfriends, and someone had asked a question about how do I plan a girls trip and get everyone to go. I'm like, girls are bad about this. Our friend group in Austin, my college girlfriends, we like can barely even get our shit together to go to someone's birthday. And we're like, okay, this is the time. It's the one of the 5 times a year we meet. Like, and we all like live within blocks of each other. It's pathetic. And if we try to do a girls trip, the one time we've gotten into work is because I'm like, cool, I'm going on a trip. Any of you are invited.
right.
Guys will just be like, hey, like, cool, you want to golf? People are like, yeah, cool. Like, no one overthinks it. No one says I might
Yeah.
have this, blah, blah, blah. I feel like guys are just better about that. Girls, it'll be like, well, like, we
Well,
should
especially
really
with
do
the
it
kids
this.
situation.
Yeah.
You're like, well, all I need to figure out what's going on.
It
with the
only
kid.
gets, honestly, though, it's one thing we realized too is like if one of us is going out, the other person doesn't have to stay home. We can get a babysitter and the other person can also do something else.
David
Right.
has reminded me of this many times. I'm like, well, what was I was going to go do? And he's like, well, just
Get a
We'll call
babysitter.
Hannah.
Yeah.
Like,
Give her
I'm
a
like,
call.
oh yeah, that's true.
To Alyssa's point, though, if you do want to compare Galentine's to something not golf every weekend, I mean, like you said, the Super Bowl, watching the Super Bowl, the Masters, any other golf tournament that they care about watching together.
Any home football game of your alma
any
mater.
sporting event, anything. I mean, not even of
We're
your alma mater.
big.
A
Literally
pro
just
team you've
going to
literally
Kelly's
never cared
Irish
about.
pub on a random Saturday
what I was
night where
gonna
no
say.
girls are allowed.
Yeah, boys' night where for no reason we weren't invited.
Randy's over there because he knows. He's laughing.
So good luck out there.
Yeah,
but
I don't.
yeah.
I mean, guys, you have Saturdays for the boys or whatever. You know, for the
Yeah.
lads.
Like
I
the-
don't need to.
The guys are not
Feel bad for
lacking
you.
for bro time.
Yeah.
Promise. Like
Yeah.
they're good to go. Like they're great.
They're
Like,
very much with the bros, and
and-
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, and to be clear, like I do not care when he goes and golfs. I really
Yeah.
don't.
I sometimes
Or when he
care
goes
when I
to
am.
Kelly's.
He
Except for
doesn't
I would-
do it every weekend though.
Yeah.
I think it would bother me if he
Yeah,
was gone
Drew
every
golfs
single
more than-
Saturday.
I
Like
think-
that would get annoying.
Well, but also
I'd be like,
Drew is better, so he has a reason to go more often.
Well, I don't know about that, but he tries to use that. He's
Yeah,
got to stay
think-
good. You got to stay good for the bets.
I
The
did get a
gambling.
little salty about the Kelly's Irish pub thing, mostly because I would just like to go. And
Who
we
says
keep
I don't
just-
want a pint?
We keep just not getting invited because it's not for the lads. I'm like, we're just gonna have a lassies night at Kelly's, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Monday, Galentine's Day, okay?
I'm
A little-
Jeffries is my vote, but
Okay, here's the
Tease.
we normally on mail and do a little shower thought, but we're running close to an hour mark here, so we're gonna like get this trainer rolling.
I know. But this bonus question,
No
I don't know
shower
if I can talk
thoughts,
quickly.
but this is a shower thought I had, and I'm gonna ask you. You get one answer for each.
I can't do it.
What is your favorite item at Trader Joe's? And what is your favorite item at Costco? This is a true mom's question. Suburban white girl mom question.
Shall I go first? I don't have one. I'm so sorry. I have 2 Costco items.
Okay.
I guess I will rank them.
The Just Bear chicken nuggets are for me. Okay. Was that yours?
No.
Okay.
But that's in my top 5.
I'm going to just tell you why this is my number one. If you have never gone to Costco and gotten the Just Bear, they're frozen chicken nuggets
green bag.
in a green bag. I went to Costco this week. Thought I got those. I got the chicken breasts. Okay. It was a huge.
Devastating. That is a huge mistake.
But can't confirm. They're still really good. What you do is you make them in the air fryer. They taste exactly like Chick-fil-A. Okay.
And quick. I mean, it's like
they're so
6
fast
minutes
and it
or
is a
something.
delight. It is a delight. But the chicken breast actually still slaps. I was like, I don't know. I'm going to have to drive back to Costco when Will gets home and like return these and get the nuggets. But I was like, I'll just make the breast for Fritz. I cut it up into pieces. I still ate half of it.
Sally, the first time she made them, she like someone else had told her, she figured it out.
Someone at work
She
told
brought
me.
I took Bane over to play with Fritz. She like made him dinner and I ate all of Bane's nuggets.
Pro move
I
is
was
to
like,
get the sauces from Chick-fil-A to go with it.
That's right.
Okay, Alyssa, what's yours?
Costco has a really awesome meat section.
Yeah.
That we didn't discover for the longest time. And Dave makes really, really good pork ribs that we get from there. They're awesome.
Yeah.
He smokes them all day and they're
What is
delightful.
it like?
They just have really good
Brady's ready
Brady's
for
snort.
us to be done.
yeah. And
Great
then
meat.
Trader Joe's.
Let me do my Costco one so we stay on
Oh,
the
sorry.
same pop.
Okay.
Sorry.
Great meat section, great pre-made section.
I know where you're going with this.
The lasagna. Okay.
The
It is
ravioli lasagna. As the
lasagna.
noodles.
The noodles are
raviolis
raviolis. Okay. Drew maintains that he will take that to any cook-off, anything in his own dish, and people would be like, this is the best lasagna I've ever had. I mean, I don't know if I would go that far, but truly he thinks it's better than any restaurant. So lasagna. But my number one item for like the lasagna is great and we get it every time we go. But the number one item is the Kirkland cauliflower crust 2-pack Supreme Pizza in the frozen section. It is so good. You hungry? You want a snack? Pop that baby in for 15 minutes. It is so good and crispy. And we eat it like truly every day.
I stared at that at Costco for like 10 minutes the other day and then realized I didn't have enough room in my freezer, so I didn't get it.
I can't believe you. We go every time we go, we get 2 boxes, 2-packs, because Bane will straight up eat like half a pizza himself.
Yeah.
And there's like vegetables on it. So we're like, oh, hell yeah, you ate a green pepper. It is so good.
Okay.
Kirkland crushes. Kirkland knows what's up.
Can I say the one thing to not get from Costco?
Yes.
The Kirkland diapers. They
Disagree.
suck.
Lily loves
Disagree.
Lily.
Bane has worn Kirkland diapers since day 30. Are you getting the right
I actually get
size?
Huggies from Costco because we like the Disney
Are
characters.
you getting the right size? Oh,
I never went back.
I
after
die
I
on
got
Kirkland
the
diapers.
Costco-
I tell everyone, get the Kirkland diapers. We need to
Oh,
discuss
wow.
why.
Oh, they stink, baby.
Okay.
They're terrible.
I've never had
I
a
actually
blowout.
think that
2
about the
years.
wipes because the wipes are
Oh,
not
the
wet
wipes
enough
suck.
for
I
me.
agree. Wipes suck. But
Yeah.
the diapers.
And maybe we just got a bad batch during the blizzard of 2021 when
Uh-huh.
Rhodes was like 2 weeks old.
Okay, I will say
Dave-
I haven't ever used the newborn.
I
We
think
had-
that they're
Dave
better
got
on
the
a
newborns.
baby, like a moving baby, like a crawling baby.
And he was just peeing
Like,
out
she's
of
still in
them, pooping
Pampers.
out of them. Like,
Okay, but
I still use Pamper Swaddlers to this day because
1 and up.
To this day.
Bane has been in 1 and up.
because they're so soft. And so I
We're
man,
Huggies girls. Okay.
Oh, Trader
Trader
Joe's.
Joe's. Give it to me.
There's so many choices, so many, but I'm gonna have to go with the cinnamon streusel muffins. Delightful.
Wow. Was
Have
not
them with a
expecting
coffee.
that from you.
I know. I sent Sally a list like 2 days ago, of like 50 things to get. My Trader Joe's thing changes like every couple months, but the cinnamon muffins are incredible.
What's yours?
man, this is kind of hard to admit. I don't go to Trader Joe's as much as I used to because it used to be right by the school that I worked at, but
Yeah.
I'm not a teacher anymore, so and we're not that close to one.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's worth
they're
the drive.
I think I texted you, like, their frozen, cauliflower and gnocchi is really good with,
yeah.
like, that, they've got this I know this is 2 things with it's like a basil, it's like a
Basil
kale
pesto.
the basil pesto is
Mhm.
really good on that. It's really tasty.
They got a lot of good frozen stuff.
They
my,
do.
my number one item, and I like this isn't like I don't get like psyched to go get it, but it's like the one thing I get from there every single time is the chili onion crunch, the chili oil.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Okay, well,
I put it literally on everything.
I will say my top
yeah.
item was gonna be the spicy black bean dip, and they discontinued it. So
that
I
and
won't.
dark chocolate.
Covered almonds.
No, dark
Butter
chocolate
cups.
peanut butter
Peanut butter
cups that I
cups,
buy,
Yep.
and then we stick them in the freezer, and then we have like one as a little treat.
The
We're
dark
just like,
chocolate covered almonds are also way better than any other dark chocolate covered almonds. I also have a list. So if you would like to know the top like 12 items,
Send it to
15,
me.
I will send it.
Since I haven't been in a hot minute.
Yeah,
maybe
you got to
I
go after work one day. Just like pop
Yeah.
over before you go
the
home.
pub dip,
There's
horseradish
probably-
pub dip, cheese. You get the pretzel slims, you dip them in there. Peanut butter
Okay,
puffs
Lily,
for the kids.
you got one. Okay, Lily, where
could
can the
go all
people follow you on socials?
At Lil Betch, Lil BOETTCH on Instagram, and I don't really tweet, but I think it's at Lily Betch
Okay,
or
Alyssa.
maybe.
Alyssa.ruff on Instagram. I don't really use Twitter, so
I'm Sally DeFreeze on Instagram and Twitter. This has been the Galentine's episode of the Female in Mail-In podcast. Please subscribe, rate 5 stars, review, and tell a friend. Don't forget to call in on our hotline, 888-362-MAIL. That's 888-362-6245. Or write in at the link in the Twitter bio. That is all, ladies.
thanks
It's been
so
real.
much, Sally.
Comment your Trader Joe's picks if we
On
missed
this,
them.
when we get a clip up, thanks, Adam. You tell us your favorite Trader Joe's
Yes,
item.
because
so we
I'm
can know.
always down to try.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Say bye, Brady.